All right. It is Monday, means Beauty Mind Monday. Allison is still in Europe. Thanks for joining
Yes,
us.
I am. Yeah, it's weird because it's like all my devices say different times depending on where what's going on. My computer it says noon. My phone says it's 5. I have no idea what's going on. I'm so confused, but here I am.
I love it.
And
I
I'm
love
very
it.
jet lagged, so I hope I was able to pull myself together.
Yeah, I never would have known anything different. I'll let you know if that changes throughout. Yeah, today we're going to talk about client retention. It's going to be a quick, jam-packed episode today, webinar today. Yeah, let's jump in because we're talking about client retention. This is something that I know from a salon perspective, you've gone many different angles, worked with several different companies, tried different things, loyalty points, all of that. And I'm excited to get, to pick your brain and hear more about what you do in the salon. And we can talk about overall experience, all of that as well. But when you think of client retention and strategies to build loyalty, what comes to mind?
So it's interesting because I think client retention is something that salon owners speak on a lot and they focus a lot on. But behind the chair as a stylist, if being a stylist is your only role, if you are a commissioned stylist, then you probably know that it's important to retain clients and you know it's important to see your clients again and to rebook them and things like that. But I don't think there's a whole lot of thought that goes into how to retain clients more, like all of the strategy behind it, all of the perks and what happens when you do retain a client, the emotional connection that you need to build. Like there's so much more that goes into it. And so I definitely want to shed some like light on that and bring more awareness to that. And also to hopefully encourage salon owners how to build that not only in their salon, but make their teams focus more on it as well. So client loyalty, when you think about retaining clients, I think for the everyday person, the first thing that comes to mind is getting people back in the chair, getting them to return back to you. And of course, that is what it is, right? We're retaining clients. But there are so many things that can go into client retention before the client even comes into the salon for their first visit. And it's that first impression of how easy it was to book an appointment with you and how they found you. If it was, a friend of theirs who's already made them feel really comfortable with you, if they've been following you on social media and they already feel like they know you because you show up in a really personable way and you post things that makes them trust you already. All of those things factor into them becoming a loyal client from the jump. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I know, like, from a cost perspective, cost comparison, it costs 5 times more to acquire a new client than to retain one. So if we're always working on, because that's what I think in business as a whole, I think people get it mixed up. They're like, oh, I got to find new clients, new clients, new clients, versus really massage the current ones that you have, staying
Yeah.
top of mind, not trying to sell them, stay top of mind, try to help them and interact and just if you keep those relationships warm, then they're more likely to come through. And then, retention overall leads to referrals, leads to more retail sales, more frequent visits.
Yeah. And today's world with social media, so many people are chasing new clients. I see it on every social media platform. Everyone is always trying to get new clients, offering money off to new clients, posting in Facebook groups to try to get new clients. And while that is all really important to get new clients in your chair, all of the strategy behind client retention will make you naturally get new clients without having to constantly chase new clients to fill your books. So I kind of want to break that cycle a little bit and get people to focus a little bit more on client retention and massaging the relationships with your current clients than always chasing these new clients. And um, something with client retention is that those clients that are returning to you are not only more likely to buy retail, but they're more likely to spend a lot more money with you and get high ticket services. Someone who's used to coming to you and trusts you and has built that relationship with you is more likely to book a extension service that is $1,000 when it comes down to the hair and the cost of the installation than a brand new client who's never met you before. So I think it's just so important to focus on add-ons with clients that are already coming to see you, high ticket services with clients that are already coming to see you. You may think, oh, you know, Natalie would never get extensions because she's never got extensions. But if Natalie's been coming to you for 2 years and you've been consistent in her color and her haircut, and she would benefit from extensions, she most definitely will book extensions with you if you offer that to her. So important
Yeah.
to keep that open mind with those clients that you've been seeing who haven't got high ticket services, that they will if they're comfortable with you. And like I said, more likely to buy retail as well.
Yeah, and it's like you are a beauty professional. I, obviously from being in a family, I never would have tried blonde hair if you weren't already getting your hair done. Now that my girlfriend is a stylist, I try new things, pushing me out of my comfort zone. And a lot of people stay stagnant and maybe just only try one thing, and that's all they do. But I think as a beauty professional, they come to you to push them out of their comfort zone a little bit, try new things, new services, different, skin treatments, hair treatments, all this new stuff that's coming about, rather than just staying in 1990 and just continuously getting the same thing and not trying anything new. They're more likely to try these new services. So we do have to be intentional with every step of everything we do. And that's, of course, what we talk about at Mastermind all the time. But now with this in particular, there's so much money you're leaving on the table because you're not offering this stuff. You're not, doing the things it takes to retain these clients, when that's going to be the gateway to an even better career.
Yeah, and before we get into talking about the strategy behind improving the client retention, I just want to mention, like, after having a salon for two salons for 16 years, I have had people make comments over the years that really plays into that. So I remember multiple times similar things have happened, but we have a salon with multiple stylists performing multiple services. And I've had times where a client would say to me behind the scenes, maybe not my client, but someone else's client in the salon would say, I was sitting next to a girl who was offered a conditioning treatment, but I didn't even know you guys do my stylist never asked me to do conditioning treatment, and things like that. And people feel like left out. And it's almost like, oh, well, we just didn't think to offer it to you because we thought you wouldn't get it. But it's like it's so important to offer people services to make them feel welcome to receive them, but also just to feel like you're constantly trying to improve that experience with them, even if they're going to say no. And all of that factors into them coming back. Because if you're sitting next to someone who's getting their hair done and that stylist is saying to their client, did you want to turn your haircut into a treatment haircut today? And a treatment haircut is basically a conditioning treatment added onto a haircut, but a treatment haircut sounds a lot better than just a haircut with a conditioning treatment. And then your stylist is sitting there just going, okay, Susie, we're just doing the same. And you're like, yeah, but in your head, you're like, what's a treatment haircut? It's just like
Yeah.
you would definitely, I mean, who would you want to go to? Would you want to go to the stylist who's offering things like treatment haircuts, or would you want to return to the stylist who every time you come in, she says, are we just doing the same thing today? And we think sometimes that that's what people want, is that familiarity and like, oh, like same thing, I already mixed up your color, like sit down, we'll do the same. And no, like people want change and they want offerings and they want those things. It's not, oh gosh, she wants me to spend more money in her business, or she wants me to give her more money or spend more money in her chair. It's, oh my gosh, she's offering me things all the time and I can say yes or no. All of
Yeah. Yeah.
that
Don't
plays
think of
into
it.
them coming back.
I think the reason people don't do it is they think they're upselling, or they're like selling this versus trying to improve the experience. And if we focus on improving the experience, that's when the money will follow.
A
And
lot of
so, no, I
people,
love that point.
a lot of stylists don't believe in their services because they wouldn't spend that money to get their hair done, especially a newer stylist. Just
Yeah.
coming from experience coaching hundreds and hundreds of stylists over the years, a lot of people don't see the value in a $35 conditioning treatment. They don't think a $35 conditioning treatment is going to do anything other than just make their hair feel good for a day. And that is so wrong. If that's the conditioning treatments that you offer, then maybe look into a different line, because conditioning treatments can like really improve your hair. It can really bring your curl back to life. It can change the game for your hair and really get you on the path to healthy hair. But if you don't believe that it's worth $35, neither is your client. And they're not
Yeah.
also, by the way, going to believe in any other service that you offer anyway.
Yeah. Get out of your own way and
Yeah.
focus
So
on improving the experience.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about how to even improve these and how to, what's the strategy behind client retention. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
So some different things that we can do in the salon is loyalty points. First thing that you could do is loyalty points. People return to stores like Ulta and Sephora because they get points. When they build up those points, they get rewards, they get free products, they get birthday perks and things like that. And so we can build those into our salons. At my salons, you get 1 point for every dollar that you spend, whether it's on a retail product or a service. And all of those points accumulate over time. You also get multiple points for pre-booking. And I believe it's 250 points for pre-booking. Don't quote me on this. I'm remembering off the top of my head. And 500 points for referral. So when you accumulate 2,000 points, and we build this into our system, we do not do the math ourselves. It does it for you. When you accumulate 2,000 points, you can turn that into $20. So a client knows that they get points over time when they refer people, when they pre-book their appointments, and when they spend money in our business. And they will say, how many points do I have? And if they don't know, then that's a huge, uh, we're missing a huge point to the whole thing, is to make them aware of your loyalty program so they can get excited about it too. And so that's the first thing that I would say is build a loyalty point system in your business and make it known. Post it on social media, post it on your website so that people know what they have to do to get points in your salon and how many points they need to get to basically start redeeming those points and get perks. So that's the first thing that I would say, is build a loyalty point system into your salon. The second thing I would say is pre-book your clients. We've been talking a lot about this lately, pre-booking your clients, because if you don't, you're going to see them half the amount of time you would in a year. You're going to see people maybe 8 visits a year, maybe more than that if you're pre-booking them. But if you're not, chances are they're not going to come to you until they're absolutely desperate. And then you run the risk of losing them, because when they finally call, you're booked, and they end up on somebody else's in somebody else's chair. So when we pre-book them, we not only get them on the schedule at a convenient time for them, but now they don't have to call. Now they don't have to get our booking link out and start fishing for an appointment. And we don't have to worry about losing them. Um, One of the number one things I've heard over the years, I've heard this a lot. I pre-booked 75% of my clients and I've had so many no-shows this month. I don't even want to pre-book these clients anymore. I pre-book Sally, and every time I pre-book Sally, she no-shows. And it's not worth pre-booking. So I'm just going to stop pre-booking, and whoever ends up on my books ends up on my books. And that is a huge mistake, because you will have way more open books if you don't pre-book clients than the little bit of no-show openings you may have if you pre-book people that then forget about their appointment. And
And
that
what
is
and what
just,
steps are you taking? What steps are you taking to ensure that they're aware of your appointment? Are you setting SMS? Are you, following up the day before? Are you
yeah.
taking the necessary steps to mitigate that?
Yeah. And some people will say, well, it's not my responsibility. And all of these things, all of these excuses I've heard, and I see them all over the internet. I mean, like, it's, the industry is like, I think a lot of people are forgetting that we're in a service industry. And while it
Yeah.
is not up to us to make sure people remember their appointment time, it's also really important to have systems behind your business when you're in the service industry, and um, when you serve clients and when you work by appointment only. You should definitely protect yourself also by sending out those text messages, email reminders, maybe calling people and saying, hey, I saw that you didn't confirm your appointment. I just want to know that you're coming in. Another thing that I always recommend doing is, if you see that your books are super full because you've been pre-booking, and you're maybe booked in May, right? May is like pretty much booked. You have one more Saturday color opening left. I always recommend to my stylist to just post like a really nice PSA on Instagram on their story, and just say, hey everyone, I only have one color opening left on Saturday, or on a Saturday in May. If you have an appointment with me this month that you cannot make, please let me know as soon as possible so that I can offer your opening to someone else. And almost every time I've ever done that, when I was taking clients, almost every time at least one person will reach out and say, I'm so sorry, totally forgot, I have to reschedule my appointment on the 12th or whatever it was. Because people are just people, they're just normal, and sometimes they're waiting for a convenient time to contact you. And so if your books are full and you're worried that you're going to start getting no showed, then be proactive and do things like that, or just reach out to people and say, I just want to make sure we're still on, and take that extra step, because you can't forget we are in the service industry and we are dealing with people. They're not products, they're
Yeah.
people, and they should be treated like humans. So
Yeah, they're gonna make mistakes. They're gonna feel bad. They're gonna no show not because they wanted to, because they either forgot or because they feel bad canceling it or whatever. They're gonna be human, but we have to have systems and processes. And if you are just in the game and you don't want to implement these different strategies, then you're never going to reach your highest potential within this, because these things work. It's called supply and demand. If your schedule is jam packed and you follow these new systems and processes, you're going to mitigate the risk of people canceling. Still, a few will. Sometimes it happens, but you have to mitigate the risk. But then you need the supply and demand. You need your books to be filled so you can leverage that and raise your prices eventually as you can continue growing in your career. Stop being lazy.
stop being lazy,
And I know
stop
we only
making
got
excuses.
we have
What'd you say?
a couple more, or just a couple of minutes left. So I want to make sure we get to all the good stuff. So I'll throw it back in your side.
All right. Yeah. So then the last thing I would say, and you can remind me if I've got some more in our notes, but
Yeah.
the last thing that comes to mind for me with client loyalty or client retention is to create a system or use your software where you have notes on clients and make them feel super special. I am guilty of thinking I will remember people's formulas, their kids' names, all the things. I'm totally guilty of being like, I'll totally remember where they part their hair. Like all these things, I'll totally remember them. And then they leave. And then the next day I'm like, wait, what was that lady's name I did yesterday? Or what was her, what did
Yeah,
did
yeah,
I end up
yeah.
doing six? So it's like, you think you'll remember because it's fresh in your mind and then you forget. So keep notes on people, front desk even. Like if you work front desk in a salon, or if you're a manager in a salon, it's really important for you to remember people, remember their coffee order and things like that. So make notes on people in your software. Guarantee if you have salon software, there's a space for personal notes to remember things about people, because we can't remember things about everybody. But if you make those notes and Jim comes in and you remember that he gets, one cream, one sugar in his coffee, that's going to be really special to them, and they're not going to forget how you made them feel. So it all comes down to building that emotional connection with people. People will forget what you did for them, but they will not forget how you made them feel. And that goes for like everything in life. But it's really, really important when you're in the service industry to make people feel good. They will not forget about that. And even if you do lose them as a client at one point, they will return, because no one else will give them that special treatment, and they will miss how you made them feel. So really, really important to
Absolutely.
build that emotional connection.
And if you're not making them feel that way, somebody else will, and they will steal them from you.
Yes.
And just, yeah, a couple more things. So retail as a retention tool. So home care equals better results, equals happier client.
Yes,
You
as
need to
long as
sell
you are
retail.
sending people home with retail, they will return. People who buy retail from you for whatever reason, whether they, came in wanting it because you posted about it, or because you used it on them and they loved it, or they asked you for a recommendation, those people who take home products from your salon are so much more likely to return as a repeat client. And the people who you don't make the effort to set them up with a proper regimen or give them product recommendations, they will end up in someone else's chair eventually.
Absolutely. And then, yeah, we just had a couple more. So coaching your team on retention. So using retention tracking metrics, and then also set monthly retention goals and celebrate wins.
Yeah. So in my salon, we have a level system and we have retention goals for each level. Right now, we're not. We're measuring rebooking. So the pre-books we pay a lot of attention to, and our level one start with a 50% pre-book goal, which I highly recommend for someone starting off. But as you grow through the level system and you're doing over $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a month, your rebook goal goes up to more like 85%. And right now we're waiting to look at retention until we're closer to the middle of the year, but really important to focus on retention. And chances are and the reason is because we've switched software, by the way. So it's kind of might look like we haven't retained people that we have. But it is really important to keep your eye on those numbers and to share that with your team, not just keep them behind the scenes as like a leadership thing, but to really meet with your team, have those wrap up meetings at the end of the month and the beginning of the month, to really get them involved in their numbers so that they know where they stand. Because people don't know what they don't know. And chances are, if you're a service provider, that's not your number one thing unless you have a salon owner or salon manager helping guide you through that. So really important to share those numbers with your team.
Absolutely. Amazing. Well, the last thing on that we had was teach stylists that not every client is the right fit and focus energy on ideal clients who value your service and standards. Don't
Yes.
get
And
caught up in lost people and all of that.
yeah, and while that is very true, also please do not get wrapped up in the game of the industry right now where people are being very picky about clients. Get those clients in your chair. Learn to love the hard clients. Not talking about being, a pushover and letting everyone push you around or anything like that, but leave space for people and, or just don't be so quick to cancel people. I think that's a big thing in our industry right now. I'll just say it. People are so quick to say, I'm not taking that client anymore. She pissed me off. And I think it's getting out of
Yeah.
hand. So remember that people are human and focus on communication. And yes, just remember that not everyone is the right fit for you. So just keep an open mind.
Amazing. Cool. Well, this was very insightful. Can't wait to put this out and see what people think. And if you guys have any questions, you can reach out to us if you're part of the Beauty Mind membership. If you're not, all of the details will be in the description below. And yeah, safe travels back, Allison.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
All right, peace.